Welcome. This is BT Views of the Late Late Show with BT. We are towards the end of viewing Terminator 2 or T2 Judgment Day. So we're towards the end. It's regularly a 60-minute time frame, but we don't have that much time. We don't have 60 minutes left in it. So this is gonna bring it to a close, and we currently we vibe with it, and that's kind of basically it. We are tying it into or connecting it to some situations that was presented with the L word. And it's not specifically that it was like presented with the L word, but just being public, just those just regular issues that those in the arts world, in the public arts world, tackle. So because of that, that's why there's a connection. Basically, because there's been some overlap in terms of the issues. But and also something else that came out of this is our LL Cool J Hasta La Vista Baby song. That it's something that's mainstay, to resolve with the show, to as a contribution towards that common issue, that common problem, not common problem, but that problem that was kind of was shown in with regards to prevention of this particular viewing and after, I guess, and now. So we're going to transition over and get started. And again, it's BT Views, and it's Terminator 2, Judgment Day, or T2. So we are broadcasting audible only on youtube.com as well. I guess the main, something, with regards to this is that, um, it definitely stresses the importance of knowing, like, knowing the impact of doing this type of work, where it's not just you're reading the lines and presenting a story, but really understanding how it intertwines with your life. Like in this one, because whenever you want to know if out of it you have the responsibility of being a godparent or something that's isn't temporary, like a script that was produced in less than 6 months, but there's something long term that impacted your life, like a lifetime change, a lifetime addition to your life. So that's to say, becoming involved and with this type of work, I guess you have to ask, would it be sensible to be involved with those who aren't in it in that perspective, where it's just, a script, it's temporary? Because what if just being in that type of limited perspective, you're in neglect with the lifetime responsibility of it? And I guess you always have to question that when it's not theater, when it's not something that's live and it's over in 60 minutes or it's over in 2 hours, when it's something that has...
John, you got to go now. John, go now.
Are responsible people when it comes to this work. Not to belittle theater, because that's a totally different situation with it being live and all. But the point is time frame. So evidently there's something about this particular part in it that is not supposed to be play itself out in reality, that's not supposed to have reality. You know, when it comes to Sarah and the son.
Call to John. I know this hurts. Call John. Call to John now.
Then you start to really understand casting.
Get out of the way, John. Shoot! Get up. Come on. Holy shit.
I need a vacation.
Is it dead?
Terminated.
This mountain there?
Yes. Throw it in.
Adios.
And the gym.
It's over.
No. There's one more gym.
So the question is, where
It must be destroyed also.
where is this where
Here. I cannot solve
the offender in question thought that they could steal DJ in the L word? Where was that? Like, knowing the casting for Terminator 2, where,
Sorry.
No, it'll be okay.
you know, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? But where,
No, don't do it. Please, don't go.
I must go away, John.
No.
where is that? Where that offender thought that they could DJ with regards to the L word?
No, don't do it. Don't go.
It has to end here.
Order you not to go. I order you not to go. I order you not to go.
I know now why you cry. But it's something I can never do.
it seemed like after this, that would have been the last thing, you know, that, anyway, the last activity that the offender would have attempted with regards to the L word.
The unknown future rolls toward us. I face it for the first time with a sense of hope. Because if a machine, a Terminator, can learn the value of human life, maybe we can too.
So we're going to transition over and vibe. So that's been our BT Views T2 Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Our feelings is that there was particular attention put to the situation with regards to the son and the offender attempting to Sarah and that impact with regards to Arnold Schwarzenegger. And we just think that work shouldn't, that prevention shouldn't go shouldn't be ignored. That it was there, it was attended to for a reason, and that that it should be cared for. That care should be cared for. Um, of course, we hope that the situation with the child is one that mirrors and complements the attention to prevention with regards to the situation. Why it goes back so far, I guess, because um, life and different types of contributors um, in history, the history of different types of contributors. Um, so let's start dealing with it. We hope that the offenders actually confront, the consequences to their actions. Whether it was, premeditated or whether that's kind of, you know, what their quote existence end quote was about with regards to offense. Um, and it also shows that knowing your offender, um, how knowing your offender removes a lot of situations of attempts to to defame a person's character. Um, where you have like a body, a work of art, of proof. Um, you know, um, Even if the type of proof may be specific to a particular industry. It's not. Lawyers don't do movies, right? Typically, lawyer. The artist does the movie. So even though it may be in the arts world, that doesn't belittle it with regards to it being recorded proof. Um, you know, um, I'm finding that it's like, well, how do you know this or how do you know that with regards to whatever proof? Then they want to stop being artists and then they want to just be like, I'm a plaintiff or I'm a defendant. Then they just want to be like working with a lawyer or an attorney, uh, you know, but still make money being an artist, um, whatever. But I don't think that any type of proof, whether it's living proof, Jennifer Aniston's living proof, or what is recorded proof, or whether it's, just, whatever type of proof that it is, as long as it's that, let us accurately, as long as it's accurate to what the situation is. Because I learned that a lot of times, which is probably another reason why we have this wonderful work of this wonderful art and this wonderful industry of film and movies and productions, is a lot of times, even when it's something you saw a videotape of something happening, it looks like this. Sometimes it doesn't even appear like it's not what it appears to be, even though it's quote unquote caught on tape. Um, so a lot of times, that's what these actors and these professionals with this type of work, which with security, have to be able to make those separations with regards to character and actual offender. Um, that's recorded with different stories or whatnot. So at least that's kind of what lately Shortly T. That's kind of what we've done with it. is that aspect. And you know, anyway, that's our response to it. T2, you know, just kind of nonsensical that they were even, you know, there would be a situation even after this of like the offender attempted to DJ, like be like a club DJ. That that's just not that just doesn't make sense. Um, you know, where do you do that at? But you know, we're still doing the L word with the Late Late Show with BT after the show with BT Raw. You know, hopefully, you know, whatever, you know, those issues that will kind of, you know, those issues will prevent any, so we're not like being exposed to that offender. Um, so, you know, and again, just the casting brings you into a different perspective of casting is a totally different perspective. You know, when the work of art actually has a significance to who's being cast. And, you know, they're just not some unconnected, unrelated person doing a job getting a paycheck. Like, there's actually a significance that's related to their safety and to their well-being. Um, and it's either, you know, the focus, of course, the point is to have it where, you know, this is going on with you, you know, it's not just the character, then, you know, we should, you know, take a part in it. You paying to see something. You don't want to find yourself paying to like be like, yeah, you know, that was cool. You know, when it's like doing harm, you want to be like, okay, this is actually, you know, a situation with this person that's cast. And you want to be a part. You want to be a part of that community that's viewing it, so that you can be a part in preventing it. You know, whether it's, you know, distance of the character or keeping that offender, that offender out, or you know, whatever it is. But you know, that's supposed to what it's supposed to be about. You know, not you know, being with the offender. You know, that's not society. That's not what being a citizen is about. Um, so yeah. So of course we're hoping, you know, this situation be resolved as soon as possible. With and again, we are using our Hasta La Vista Baby song to you know, contribute to what we feel was the whole point of doing the Terminator 2 and T2, with regards to the child that was in it, the medical issue that was presented in it, the political issue that was presented in it. You know, so, you know, to have that resolved, you know, by happening so long ago, and by the, you know, the offenders, it seems you would think that they would have had a chance. You know, that if that wasn't them, you know, if they wasn't within that offense, or even whatever, that there's some different choices could have been made where, you know, we could have come from a different position. I find that, you know, a lot of opinions and attitudes about certain things are very difficult, but you got to stand by them. And you know, even when it's something that we're not comfortable with, you know, because of, you know, it's like other people involved, it's like, you know, family and all of this, you know, even when it's something that's not comfortable with, just addressing it from a perspective of reality, you know, because unfortunately for us, you know, with because we presented two different types that's kind of like, you know, could be perceived as in the same type of community, but in this particular, you know, present two, you know, similar cases, but in this particular case is this particular group, um, you know, that was for that, you know, there was the Earl guy that was in there, and then the, you know, with the offender Sarah, um, you know, because of some of the offenses that can't be reversed, it presents a situation where we can't reverse our view as to what the proper result is supposed to be. And it's unfortunate, but what we want is for them to just agree, you know, with how they can agree that, you know, it is just, you know, if I was, you know, that is just, you know, that if this was a situation, then I would agree that that is a, a solid, just penalty for that offense. And, you know, not be retaliatory or, you know, attempting to come back with defamation or, you know, that, you know, you're lying when we're not coming from that perspective. That's not how we're approaching it. Never have been. It's always been about showing and, you know, presenting that this is from, you know, this is the offender. This is the offender. The offender has these type of offenses. So the question is, why is it equaling to, you know, why is this equaling to who you are? You know, why are you equaling to an offender? Becomes the question. So we rather put our energy into just showing the offenses, showing the offender, and we just believe that that's the better way to do it, as opposed to just saying, okay, this person did this or this person did that. No, just showing the offense, you know, associated with this, and that it's, you know, if if that equals, um, you know, in a loosely loose terminology. But that's been our approach. Never from an attacking situation, just because, you know, we're clear about our community that we represent. Um, and it becomes very difficult when you have this community to show that that they are the ones being offended, that they're the ones being attacked, that they're the ones being harmed or hurt. Because who wants to do those type of movies? Who wants to produce that type of situation? So that's why we have what we have to, you know, and this becomes our expertise of professionals who have this specialty, so that we know that if it's happening here, then where the offense is and who they're offended. Um, So that's, you know, it's like, where does that come from? It's like, well, we need to see it. Like what? Like who does that? You know, like who needs to see this type of, who needs to see that to have validation that it happened, or that it's, you know, that it's been a repetitive offense, or that there's still an attempt. Yeah. So, you know, I guess that's why, you know, like HOVT, we have a way, because of how and the way that we do it. And we stand by our professionals that have this responsibility to show offense with regards to this community. And it's not entrapment. If it's oh well, it's entrapment because we didn't know when you're trying to do it here, and you stay in the offense. How is that entrapment? It's not, oh, we switch it, at the last minute, and or you thinking it's this and then it's not. Like, it's always been. So the question is, why are you caught up in that? Guilt becomes very evident. Um, so because of that, because in this situation, this particular, Earl and Sarah, Earl and Ahu, um, because of that, that is why. But in the other situation, it was, it wasn't that way. It was, it wasn't impacted on someone else or projected onto someone else or this community that we have to protect. It wasn't projected there. It was, so it is what it is. Um, so that's been our BT views. I guess we could still vibe because it's, ideally it's a 60-minute segment. So that's it. We're hoping that this will serve for, resolve the hostilities to baby song, that will serve as a resolve. And, because this is like directly impacting my life and has directly impacted my life for a very long time. It's like, great, I have this show, but there's still other elements that are relative that has to have the same care that I project out in it. So again, that's kind of the challenge that we're kind of up against right now, is where there's question as to how do you know this is a fact when how do you know this is? How do you know this is a fact? Like, when it's not their industry, it seems as though it's difficult to accept proof someplace else. I'm not a golfer, so it's difficult for me to be able to connect and see, on the golf course, how it relates, how an offense connects to what's going on with the golf course or what's going on the tennis court, because I'm not a tennis player. I need to know, it needs to be an arrest for this particular, against this particular statute or this particular offense. And, but then the question is, who wants to see that? When the reality is, this is, when it comes to security and law, there's just some things that are put in place to, resolve certain types of offenders, to protect the community from certain types of offenders. So that's the challenge that we're up against. When this is something that we have, this is the way that we go about it. But there's still a certain level of ignorance when it comes to law enforcement. So our challenge is keeping, a connection with law enforcement and not losing that connection and not losing law enforcement personnel when they, don't have certain access to security. Because there's police and there's security, and there are connections, but there are still certain differences, and there's still certain accesses that are totally different. So being security, we don't want to lose that connection with law enforcement. We don't want to lose that connection with police officers and have, like a situation that just happened in New York where it's like, oh, because they're being ignorant, that makes them vulnerable to uh, someone going up into their car while they're, on the beat and blasting them or whatnot. No, is we want to keep that connection to law enforcement so that, you know, there isn't an ignorance type situation, that they, that there is a certain comprehension that they can grasp from their frame of reference, even if their procedures are different than security, even if they're given certain different tools than the tools that are given to security. Um, so that's kind of been about it. And so that's all I can say about it. It's here now, and and it's called T2 Terminator 2 Judgment Day for a reason. Then there's that whole biblical relevancy that's tied into it. So we don't want to lose that situation either, when it comes to law enforcement or police. When, they're not specifically, their expertise is not specifically biblical or religious. And that is tied into affecting this result with these two offenders. We don't want to lose that either. So we're hoping that we will keep and maintain that connection without losing, people that were sworn to, or that, went in to like help, with law enforcement, with police. Um, just because they don't have the religious or biblical connection, or they don't have the security connection or security tools or the biblical tools. When they're responsible for enforcing the law, but they put up a block, or they say put up a wall, or whatever, to be like they can't, or as if they cannot enforce the law because they still not getting it, still not connecting it. That's my challenge. Like I don't want to like lose them. I don't want to lose them because of that, because they want to say no, they don't. But their responsibility is to enforce the law. So anyway. I guess that brings up, maybe a solution would be to incorporate certain different representatives with different experiences, and not just, people with just police enforcement experience, but to, cross industries, and, ideally that would be how it would work. But, just like if, you have a situation where there's this representative of your area and you have this representative of this particular segment. But the reality of it is, say for instance, you have three representatives, one of law, one of, um, like management, and, um, one of courts. And, ideally, if it's a legal matter, you would go to the law person or you would go to the courts. But if out of those three people, the only one that you have is the one that is, responsible for management, then the sensible situation is to go with who you are, and that's the way to go about it, as opposed to, well, you know, it's a crime, it's an offense. So that the mandatory uh, path would be to go to the law, go to the legal representative, go to the um, courts. Sometimes it's not like that. And if you're, where you are with your character and your way is not there, then it should be clear to you that that is not the path. Even if it is considered a criminal offense, even if it's still considered, illegal, you know, um, at that particular time, that is not where it should be. So you gotta just stand firm. A lot of times when you go to management, they redirect you because in there you're saying it's a crime, it's a criminal offense, it's illegal. They're in their frame of reference, it's like, okay, well that means that you go here, you go to the courts, you go to the law because it's a crime, it's an offense. So in those situations, all we can do is communicate to you, just stand firm with who you are, with character, and just be like, well, that's not where it's at right now. Maybe it should be, but it's not where it's at right now. So if, whatever way that this management representative have with regards to resolving this issue, then that's the way that I'd rather go because this is where I'm at. Why that is, this is where I'm at. Um, I'm finding that's, just to resolve is just better to be where you are. If it's a situation, it's a business problem, there's a director, say if it says a director or supervisor, and then there's a customer service rep. Out of those three, you're where the customer service rep is, and it has nothing to do with, where you are professionally in your life, but it's just that this one and that one is not happening. So what, I'm just gonna stay with this customer service rep, and it's gonna be worked out that way, because that's where I'm at in terms of character. Um, and a lot of times that even just a stance like that will, put that customer service rep on the path that they're supposed to be with regards to, society. And, even if you are like the CEO of your company and you feel as though, well, I need to talk to this particular person. What if who's there right now is not you? Just taking a simple stand like that can help people be on their right paths. Because you as a CEO, if you're not with this supervisor and you're not with this director, but you're with this customer service rep, what does that say about that customer service rep? So this has been BT Raw. Not BT Raw, that's immediately after the show. This is BT Views. And yeah, so that's been, just kind of, that's been my resolve or my way with how to resolve this, just, addressing it where I am with character. And I just think that I get along, in the resolve, we get along better as opposed to trying to beat up a door that if you're not there, what's the likelihood of your time being managed properly there? A lot of times when you know you're somewhere, you know, and it's, you know, they still have an attitude like you're not there. You know, sometimes it's, you know, you you know, get that you know, you should you know, put, you know, effort into, you know, that particular situation. But primarily where you are with character with regards to the resolve of the situation. Um, is typically one of the best ways, the best path to go about it. So this has been BT Views, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and that's gonna be it. Um, we have no other additional views in place. I know we mentioned that we were going to view Killers after this. Um, so I guess we're still contemplating whether or not, uh, with regards to Killers. Um, and of course, that was going to be from uh, a different perspective, like, you know, from a family type perspective, and, you know, exactly, you know, how can you have a product like Killers and not be promoting killing, or not be promoting killers, or marketing as killers. So, you know, if you know the characters, the two characters, then you could get, you know, how and where they're coming from with Killers. Um, but it's always keeping it relevant to, you know, the story with regards to the life story with BT Views. So this has been BT Views. Any updates with regards to this issue will be with the Late Late Show with BT. But for now, bye.